there is a machine running inside America right now. A money machine. It operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely silently. And the elite have been feeding it for decades while the majority of Americans did not even know it existed. This machine does not care about your salary. It does not care about your job title. It only responds to one thing: whether you understand how it works and whether you have positioned yourself inside it. Today, I am going to show you exactly how this machine operates, who is running it, and how you can plug yourself into it before another year passes you by. Welcome to Wealth Analysis Network, the channel that breaks down the real mechanics of American money and wealth so that every person watching has access to the financial intelligence that actually changes outcomes. If you are new here, subscribe right now because every single week we go deeper than the headlines and give you the analysis that most financial channels never deliver. Today we are going inside America's money machine, the hidden system that the elite use to build wealth silently and consistently, and we are explaining every single layer of it in plain, honest language. Let's get into it right now. The first gear inside America's money machine is the one that makes everything else possible, and it is the principle of high-velocity capital. Research into how wealthy Americans build and maintain their fortunes reveals one consistent pattern that separates elite wealth builders from everyone else. They never let money sit still. The wealthy keep their capital moving constantly between productive assets, from high-growth investments to defensive positions, from liquid cash reserves to real estate, from dividend-producing stocks back into growth opportunities. High-net-worth individuals maintain what financial researchers call money at high velocity. Capital that is always working, always positioned, always earning a return of some kind rather than sitting idle in a low-interest account, losing ground to inflation. While the average American keeps the majority of their savings in a traditional bank account earning less than 0.01%, the elite have every dollar deployed into assets that generate returns. The entry point into this principle for any American is simple and immediate. Move your cash into a high-yield savings account earning between 4 and 5% annually. Open a brokerage account and begin putting money into low-cost index funds and treat every idle dollar as a missed opportunity rather than a safety net. The second gear is the barbell investment strategy that wealthy Americans use to protect and grow their capital simultaneously, and it is one of the most sophisticated yet accessible frameworks in the entire hidden system. Rather than concentrating all their investment capital in one asset class or one type of risk, the elite build what researchers describe as a barbell portfolio. On one end, they hold high-growth positions in sectors with significant upside: technology, innovation-driven industries, and emerging opportunities. On the other end, they hold defensive positions in sectors that remain stable regardless of economic conditions: healthcare, consumer staples, and dividend-paying blue-chip companies. The barbell approach protects against catastrophic loss while still participating in significant market gains. It is the structural reason why elite portfolios grow during bull markets and survive bear markets without the devastating drawdowns that wipe out ordinary investors who are concentrated in a single direction. This strategy is not reserved for institutional investors or the ultra-wealthy. Any American with a brokerage account can implement a version of this framework using low-cost ETFs that cover both growth and defensive sectors simultaneously. The third gear inside the money machine is leverage, and this is the component that is most misunderstood and most consequentially underused by ordinary Americans. The wealthy use leverage strategically to control larger assets with smaller amounts of their own capital, multiplying their returns without proportionally multiplying their risk exposure. A real estate investor who puts 20% down on a rental property controls 100% of an appreciating asset while only deploying 20% of its value. A business owner who borrows at 4% to fund a venture generating 20% returns is using leverage to create a 16% spread of pure profit. The elite keep cash reserves available not as a security blanket, but as dry powder, capital ready to deploy immediately when leveraged opportunities arise. The critical distinction that separates the elite use of leverage from the destructive kind is purpose. The wealthy use leverage to acquire assets that generate income and appreciate over time. They never use leverage to fund consumption or lifestyle. Consumer debt at 20% interest is leverage working against you. A mortgage on an income-producing property at a lower rate than the property's returns is leverage working for you. Understanding this distinction and positioning yourself on the right side of it is one of the most powerful financial moves available to any American in 2026. The fourth gear is the tax engineering system that the elite use to legally minimize what the government takes from their wealth every single year. And it represents one of the most significant and most accessible advantages in the entire hidden money machine. Wealthy Americans structure their finances deliberately to generate as much income as possible from investments taxed at the lower capital gains rate and as little as possible from labor taxed at the higher ordinary income rate. They maximize contributions to every available tax-advantaged vehicle. The 401k that defers taxes on contributions and growth, the Roth IRA that eliminates taxes on growth permanently, the health savings account that provides a triple tax advantage on contributions, growth, and qualifying withdrawals simultaneously. They use real estate depreciation to create paper losses that offset taxable income while the underlying property appreciates in real value. And they run legitimate business expenses through side businesses and self-employment structures that reduce their taxable income before the IRS ever calculates what they owe. None of these strategies require a team of attorneys or a minimum level of wealth to begin accessing. Every working American can open a Roth IRA today. Every American on a qualifying health plan can open an HSA today. Every American with a 401k can raise their contribution to the maximum employer match level today. These are the tax gears of the money machine, and they are available to anyone who understands how to use them. The fifth gear is the network and information advantage, and while this is the hardest component to replicate overnight, it is the one that has become most democratized by technology in 2026. The elite have always had access to financial information, investment opportunities, and strategic advice that ordinary Americans could not reach. Private equity deals, off-market real estate, early-stage investment rounds, and sophisticated tax planning have historically required existing wealth and existing connections to access. But the information layer of this advantage has shifted dramatically. The financial intelligence that the elite have always used to make better decisions is now more publicly available than at any point in history. Research tools, financial analysis platforms, index funds that capture institutional quality market returns, and educational content that explains the real mechanics of the system are all accessible to anyone willing to seek them out. The Americans who are quietly getting richer in 2026 are the ones who are treating financial education as a daily practice, not a one-time event, and who are consistently expanding their understanding of how the machine works so they can position themselves more effectively inside it every single year. So here is the complete picture of America's money machine and how the elite build wealth silently inside it. They keep capital at high velocity, always deployed, never idle. They protect and grow simultaneously through a balanced approach that captures upside while defending against catastrophic loss. They use leverage strategically to control appreciating assets with proportionally smaller amounts of their own capital. They engineer their tax exposure legally and deliberately using every available advantage the tax code provides, and they treat financial knowledge as a competitive edge, continuously sharpening their understanding of the system they are operating inside. None of these gears require existing wealth to begin engaging. They require understanding and the decision to start. The machine has always been running. The only question that has ever mattered is whether you are inside it or outside it. If this analysis gave you a clearer picture of how elite wealth is actually built in America and how you can begin accessing the same system starting today, please give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to understand how the money machine works. Subscribe to Wealth Analysis Network if you are not already with us, because every single week we bring you the deep, honest, research-backed financial analysis that helps everyday Americans understand the real system and build real wealth inside it. Drop a comment below and tell me, which gear of the money machine are you going to engage with first? I read every single one. See you in the next video.